was driving to work this morning, I was listening to another radio station, as we broadcasters sometimes do. What I heard shocked and saddened me.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They're here, nerds.
Wait, is this the group that goes around mutilating squirrels?
You just mind your P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Well, at least we found them.
Fortuitous, Captain. And now that we have them all together,
you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They make one person go, blah, 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 and the other person go, what are you talking about? And then one person goes, blah, 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 blah.
Welcome into the weekend here as we kick off our festivities on a very busy weekend in and around the state of Alabama. You got Barber Motorsports Park and the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama coming up. You got the Magnolia Festival, which started officially on Friday night, continues into today. Down in, is it Clanton or Calera? I can't remember which, but they got the 4th annual Strawberry Festival somewhere south of town.
Right.
I mean, good grief. There's so much going on. We appreciate you taking some time out of your busy weekend to check us out here on the Entertainment Roundtable. 2 of our members missing. Both of them have the name that starts with J. Jacob, Josh. Josh, I think, is just using the upcoming release of Mom's Night Out as an excuse.
Yeah, I saw him up here the other day. He's been at the station.
I know. I think he's just using it as an excuse not to be up here and be a part of the show. But he says he will be back somewhere on or about May the 9th or maybe the next week. We'll figure that out later. Jacob, we know that he's got another job, so sometimes that will take precedence, but he will be back with us as soon as he can.
That's what he says anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That leaves us with the third man on the crew who has a name that starts with J. You heard his voice right there. Hello, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good so far. We'll have to see how this weekend goes here because I now have come to the realization that 3 of my draft picks are officially off the board.
Wow.
Yeah, I went early. You went late. I went early. I'm very, very early in our fantasy league draft. We'll get that figured out a little bit later on in the show.
I didn't even look at the dates. Maybe I should.
I didn't either.
I kind of wanted to get a nice animation, a comedy, superhero
and
movie.
Quite frankly, that was a better way to do it because the whole idea is to try and figure out the 5 movies that you think are going to make the most money, not necessarily when they are released. It's just kind of interesting to note that your movies don't come out until June.
I know. I'm hoping fatigue doesn't sit in.
Yeah, and 3 of my 5 films come out this month, and the other 2 don't come out until July. It's kind of weird. Then you get a guy like David here. David yet to get something on the board, but when it happens, which will be next week, I'm thinking it's going to be a big splash. Hello, David.
Howdy.
You're on the phone this week. Everything okay?
Yeah, I've just been knee-deep in production.
Oh, I got you.
Actually, post-production on a couple of projects, so
right.
I just don't have time.
I just don't have time to drive in. I understand. Well, we appreciate you carving out a little bit of time to join us on the phone, as does Ryan every week from up in Maryland. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Steve. How's everyone down there in the South?
Well, we're doing pretty good. Anybody have the chance to see anything over the past week that we haven't had the chance to review yet?
No.
No? Jeff, anything?
That's a big fat negatory.
David, how many more times have you seen Captain America?
I haven't had a chance to go back and check it out. I did see something, but I don't remember what it was. So
obviously, it was a memorable thing.
Made an impression.
Yeah. Wow. All right, then. Well, very good. So that brings us right into it. And coming up a little bit later on, we will update you on the still very, very early side of the Entertainment Roundtable's Fantasy Movie League. Again, as I mentioned, it's still very early in the process, but now we got 3 people who have attained some numbers. So we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, here we go. We start into the top 10 where Disney's Bears actually debuts in at number 10. $4.7 million for that. I don't imagine it'll last much longer. Also about ready to bow out of the top 10 is Noah, $5 million there, $93.3 million there. Oculus, $5.1 million, 21.1. And this was a movie that, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, Ryan, fairly well received, got some fairly decent Rotten Tomatoes rankings, things like that. Seem low for that, or is this about on par with what most people were predicting?
Not really sure about the numbers for Oculus, so I couldn't tell you.
It almost seems a little bit low, and the only reason I say that is because really there's not a whole lot of horror out right now.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe that's just me. Then you get up to number 7, Divergent, 5.6 million, 133.8 for those people who thought this was going to be the next Hunger Games. No. To number 6, Draft Day, 5.7 million, so 19.4 million in 2 weeks. Not great numbers. Not good for me. Later. A Haunted House in at number 5, $8.8 million on its opening weekend. Is it really that funny?
Crickets.
Yeah. What's it rated on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way?
What was it, between 20% or something?
Oh, it's down to 9.
It's down to 9%.
Yeah. Oculus is sitting at 72, so it's like the 4th highest of the top 10.
Wow. All right, so A Haunted House 2. Look, if we go by the Rotten Tomatoes rankings, this thing should fall like a rock.
Yeah.
Which would be bad. It makes $10 in week 2.
Up to number 4, Transcendence debuts to $10.8 million. Not really sure how. Johnny Depp, maybe?
Yeah, I would think so. Maybe a little depth factor, an original sci-fi. Maybe some people wanted to see
maybe
that.
A little. What's it looking like over there on Rotten Tomatoes? Is it okay?
It is twice as popular as Haunted House 2.
Wow, it's a grand total of 18%.
Yes, sir.
All right, then. Up to number 3, Rio 2 continues to rake it in, 22.1 million, 75 million there. And impressive here. Keep in mind that this is a movie that debuted last Wednesday, so the numbers cumulative as of Tuesday, when the numbers were made official over the weekend, made $22.5 million. Heaven is for Real, and 29.6 since last Wednesday. I wasn't a big fan of the movie. I thought God's Not Dead was better, but that said, when it comes to faith films, I'm happy to see that this is doing quite well. How's it looking on Rotten Tomatoes? Is this getting rated?
49%.
Middle of the pack. And then sitting at number 1, this would be 3 weeks or 4 weeks in a row now? 4 weeks in a row for Captain America?
Quattro.
$25.5 million, $200.5 officially as of Tuesday. Anything this week, do you think that any of the 3 films that are coming out this week knock Captain America off of the pedestal? And I say that when here's what's coming out this weekend. We start off with Brick Mansions. Paul Walker, RZA, others. Undercover cop goes into a housing project to try to take down a crime lord who has apparently gotten a hold of a neutron bomb.
That sounds plausible. Is that based on a true story?
I think it is. If you're in Iraq or Iran. This is one of the last starring roles for Paul Walker, and I know that you're a fan of Paul Walker, Ryan. Is this a movie that interests you, or are you looking at this kind of like the rest of us are and going, I'm not really seeing it?
I mean, I would like to see it, just not in theaters, that's all. No disrespect to Paul Walker intended, but this film, it looks cool, but I would rather see it on Redbox than anything else.
It looks like it might have some pretty interesting stunts that probably most of them were inspired by the Bourne series, but I don't know as this is going to break any new ground. In fact, I was told that this was a remake of a film, and I can't remember whether it was Italy or France. It's a remake of a European film called District 18.
Yeah, it was a French film, yeah.
French film, thank you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard of that movie. Never seen it, but...
Might be better to go back and watch that one.
Yeah, probably.
Just thinking. Speaking of horror, there's a film called The Quiet Ones coming out, so Oculus gets some competition. Jared Harris and others. This is a film about university students who go to a home to work up experiments on a young woman who's affected by demons or something like that. I really don't know, but it's British or something, I think.
You should be an official synopsis writer, Steve.
I know, I should. These things are so clear.
There's like stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Boo.
Demons or something. I
don't know. They don't make it clear in the synopses that I've read. So, yeah, I don't know whether she's, possessed or whether she's just transformed by him or I don't know.
It's the ghost
channeling
of librarians.
Is that what it is?
Hence the title.
Shh. The Other Woman. Oh, sorry. The Other Woman is the third one that comes out. Cameron Diaz, Leslie Mann, Kate Upton. This follows the exploits of one woman who finds out that her boyfriend happens to be married. And as it turns out, these two figure out some sort of a relationship together and then find out that not only is he playing with those two women, he's also cheating on those two with a third woman, and they all get together and they seek payback.
Wow. Here's a little game for you, Steve. Of those 3 that are opening right now today on Rotten Tomatoes, which one has the highest percentage?
Quiet Ones, Brick Mansions, The Other Woman. The Quiet Ones.
Yes, 36%.
36%. The Other Woman is getting?
It's at 24.
24, and Brick Mansion's looking at?
31.
Ooh. Wow. The Other Woman, which one would think is the big film of the weekend, gets the lowest rankings. And this was my third-round draft pick.
That's odd. The Other Woman actually looked kind of funny in the trailers.
It may be. I don't know. I'm thinking about trying to go check it out and sacrificing for the show to do the review.
And it's opening day, so this time next week it'll be totally different numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first week numbers to second week numbers are going to be the big tell on this. This weekend is not the big weekend. Let's face it. This is kind of a down weekend when it comes to films, because starting next week is when we really get into some of the big hitting names that are coming out there, and we're going to detail that again a little bit later on in the show. So, of these three, anybody, we'll start with David, any of these three have a chance of knocking Captain America off the number one slot? Probably not. Ryan, do you agree?
Sources close to me tell me that they say The Other Woman's going to knock off Captain America, but I am faithful in the Cap, so I want Captain America to be number one again. Okay, so you're thinking, now, putting your feelings aside, do you feel Captain America is going to be in the number one slot when we say this next week? Yes.
Jeff, do you agree or disagree?
My Planters cashews say yes.
It's like reading tea leaves, except he's reading nuts. And, well, I kind of agree. I think The Other Woman is going to make money only because of the fact that what we've seen over the past, 3-4 years, and I have no reason to believe that this is not a raunchy comedy, they make some money. I don't think it's going to last terribly long. And I'm not certain that it's got enough power to quite knock off Captain America. I think it'll be close, though. I mean, you had mentioned
come in for a cup of coffee and then leave later.
Yeah, you had mentioned that some of the experts that you've been hearing from and reading from, Ryan, say that they think that there's a half-decent chance that it could happen.
Yeah, for The Other Woman to take over the number one spot, yes.
I think it will be close. I just, somewhere down the line, I think Captain America is going to pull it out.
I think Captain America's going to stay, and then he'll hand the baton off to another of his buddies.
We'll get to that in a second. If you are so interested, you can try to see if your local movie theater is playing one of these limited release films. Blue Ruin, starring Eve Plum. Is this the same girl that was on the Brady Bunch?
I have no idea.
Why does that name ring a bell to me as the girl that was on the Brady Bunch? Yeah, I could be wrong on that, but we'll go and he's going to do some Google magic. We'll figure it out. Other films coming out for no good reason. This stars Johnny Depp, Terry Gilliam, among others. You got a movie called From the Rough, stars Michael Clark Duncan in one of his last roles. Gambit, starring Cameron Diaz, Colin Firth, and Alan Rickman. This, by the way, a movie not about the X-Men character. The German Doctor, and you got a French film, which I'm not even going to try and butcher the title of. Last Passenger, starring Dougray Scott, and Locke, which stars Tom Hardy. And there's also a film out called The Machine. What did you find out?
You are correct. Jan Brady.
It is Eve Plum. She's
yes,
made an appearance in something called Blue Ruin. Okay. You mentioned The Baton.
I did.
Coming out next week in theaters. Another comedy. Elizabeth Banks is in this. It's called Walk of Shame. But you feel like Captain America is going to go straight from number one to number two, handing the number one baton off to The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I don't know if it'll go number two, but I think Spider-Man knocks it off for sure.
Well, and I'm looking at what we got here. I mean, Rio 2's been out. It's been out as long as Captain America. Heaven is for Real. Transcendence, Quiet One's Other Woman. No, I think you're probably right. Captain America probably number one next week, and the new number one would be Spider-Man 2. Question is does Spider-Man 2 do enough business and knock out the superhero side of things, and all of a sudden Captain America doesn't go number two, it drops down to 4, 5, 6?
Probably, but at the same time, it's going to be, almost 300 mil by then? More than likely?
Probably, pretty close to it. I mean, it made $25.5 million over the last weekend alone. That's not counting what it's done up to this week so far, and I just got that number, so it's up to... Let's see, since the official numbers came out from late Sunday to yesterday officially, it's made another $28 million.
Ooh.
So, yeah, you might be right. It could be getting pretty close to, it'll definitely be 250.
Okay.
So we can go there. We'll take a break here. When we come back, it's kind of an unusual thing for us. We're going to start off our movie news with Jeff.
What?
Are you prepared, sir?
Yes.
I guess we'll find out when we come back. You're listening to the Entertainment Roundtable right here, Superstation 101, WID.
Hope you got your popcorn, because we're back to the Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
Welcome back in, listening to the Entertainment Roundtable. We come back to the sounds of Frank Sinatra and the song New York, New York. We'll throw it out there. Does anybody know which? And it's one of the movies that's coming out this weekend. Do we know which one it's off of? Jeff, first up, guess?
I'm going to go Brick Mansions.
You're going Brick Mansions. Ryan, a guess?
The Other Woman.
And David, what's your guess?
Whatever Jeff said.
You're going to go with Brick Mansions? Since Brick Mansions
That's the name of the movie I can never remember yet.
Yeah, since Brick Mansions is actually set in Detroit, that would be wrong. Ryan got it right. It's The Other Woman. It's actually got quite a few songs on it that we could have played, but for some reason, that one stuck out to me, and I decided that was the one to play. All right, first up, Jeff, we go to you, and kind of an unusual thing, because usually you're the one that comments on most of these things.
Right.
Every once in a while, you have something to bring to the table, and you have one here. We've learned the official name of the third movie that's based upon the Tolkien book, The Hobbit. So what's it going to be called? And Peter Jackson's been talking about this for a little bit. We'll get back to that in a minute.
Okay, originally they had announced it would be There and Back Again.
Mm-hmm.
But now they've decided they're going to go with the Battle of the Five Armies.
Which is, let's face it, it's pretty appropriate. That's what the vast majority of this movie is going to be dealing with.
Right. I think we're
still going to have to deal with Smaug.
Right, and I think they made the decision because there was a bit of a drop between An Unexpected Journey and Smaug's box office. In my opinion, this is a big marketing decision to be like, this one's going to have a battle of five armies.
And here's the thing, and I don't mean any disrespect because I liked An Unexpected Journey, but I thought that The Desolation of Smaug was a better film. But that's me. I may be in the minority there. I don't know. What do you think?
I liked Smaug better. I've sort of resigned myself to the fact that I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I never wanted to.
Right.
But
I mean, he has thrown everything and the kitchen sink in on this. I mean, anything that Tolkien ever even referenced to The Hobbit, he's put into these films.
Right.
Which is a little bit much. But yeah, I thought Desolation of Smaug was a better film than the first one.
When Smaug came out, I'd noticed a considerable drop-off in interest, it seemed like, even amongst Hobbit fans, though.
Yeah. But man, Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job voicing Smaug.
He did.
That was good stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if in this one we see Tom Bombadil actually pop up for a second. He's like, okay, we didn't put him in Lord of the Rings where he was. I'm going to toss him in here.
Well, I mean, Peter Jackson talking about this, has he said a whole lot about what's going on, or is he being secretive to this?
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Jackson tends to keep things pretty close to the vest. I mean, I don't imagine he's going to give up a whole lot, other than the fact that if you're a fan of The Hobbit, the book, you kind of know where it's going to go, but still. I don't know, man. Well, I want this to be a good film. I really do.
Oh, I do too. I'm sure it'll probably be.
But this is
good.
David, I think you hit on it. I mean, when we think about the Lord of the Rings trilogy and we go to this, for the most part, we're kind of being underwhelmed.
I mean, this is the Star Wars prequels all over again for the most part in a lot of ways.
That's an interesting correlation.
I don't know.
I mean, they're probably better, but at the same time, I think the fans get oversaturated.
Or could it be, and there's this, could it be that we've built this up so much in our minds that whatever he had come out with was not going to match up?
That's a possibility as well. I think it's like when you run something like The Hobbit against something like the Marvel Universe, like we don't actually really know where they're going completely with the Marvel Universe. They're not following a very strict guideline, but with like The Hobbit, they kind of are. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I think it might actually take its toll after a while.
Yeah, I don't think it helped either that they did expand and add all the stuff from the appendices and his later right. I mean,
I could have seen.
I just don't understand why they wanted to do all that.
Yeah, I could have seen them splitting it into two books, but two movies, but 3 movies is a bit much.
Right. I mean, The Hobbit was a simpler, more straightforward story, and
right.
Now he's got we've got all these tendrils. We're connecting. Look at all this connective tissue and new characters. We're going to make up.
Or quite frankly, bringing in characters that even Tolkien didn't have in the original Hobbit.
We got to have some ladies in there, man, because you know how it is.
This is what happens when you milk a franchise.
Yes.
Well, there's that. David, let's go to you, and let's talk about X-Men. You were talking about the Marvel Universe. We're about to get Days of Future Past. mashes up the older X-Men with their younger counterparts. Is that something that they're going to continue? Because we know that more X-Men films are being talked about.
Yeah, Simon Kinberg, the producer of Days of Future Past, says that X-Men Apocalypse, which follows Days of Future Past, is really going to be following McAvoy, Fassbender, and the First Class cast, and won't necessarily deal with any of the originals. It's also going to take place in the late 70s and early 80s. So, looks like they're going to be handing the torch.
Okay, so that's what this Days of Future Past is? This is the official passing of the torch from what we remember from the first 3 X-Men movies to now this one?
I'm getting that feeling.
Okay. When does this come out again? What's the official date on it?
Apocalypse?
No, yeah. Or no, Days of Future Past.
Last week of May, I think.
Last week of May? Let me look.
May 23rd.
May 23rd?
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man, Godzilla, X-Men.
Dude, bring it.
Hey, talk about
I haven't kept up with the release dates. I'm just going to camp out at the theater.
Yeah, pretty much, because May is going to be huge.
Yeah.
All right. Not that he was that much of a superhero, Ryan, but let's go back here about what, Jeff? 35 years ago, and the somewhat cheesy but kind of enjoyable Flash Gordon with the Queen soundtrack on it and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, again, I want to thank you for allowing me to borrow the DVD and rewatch it, because as cheesy as it was kind of some good cheesy fun.
I mean, it is. It is. They never pretended it to be anything except what it is.
Well, now apparently, Ryan, there's a reboot in the works?
Yes, Fox acquired the rights to Flash Gordon, and they got Star Trek 3 writers J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay to write the script, but no casting or release date has been set as of yet.
Fan of this idea, Jeff?
Sure, why not? It's not like we've had a dearth of Flash Gordon interpretations on the big screen in my life. We had the one.
You had the one, yeah.
They had I think Sci-Fi tried a series for a season or 2.
Was it Sci-Fi? Because I remember there being a TV show, but I can't really remember who it was that showed it. Heck, I can't even remember when it was now that I think about it.
Yeah, but then again, I'm pretty sure it was Sci-Fi. They had the Hawkmen that didn't have wings.
It was.
It was.
Okay.
I never saw any of it, but from what I heard, it wasn't good.
Yeah, I seem to kind of remember it, and they took cheesy from the movie and, like, upped it.
But, I mean, come on. It's a cool universe. You got
Hawkmen.
Sure. You've got, all these different planets, Ming the Merciless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope they do the lion-headed guy from the original comic strips.
There you go. I like it. Let's do one more superhero film note, and this is from Batman versus Superman. And let's face it, as one would imagine, you're going to have an enemy to fight. Reportedly, Ryan, it's going to be a Cyborg?
Well, they've cast a somewhat up-and-coming actor. Ray Fisher's going to take on the role of Victor Stone / Cyborg, but they have said his role is not going to be big. It's going to be a small, minor role. He's not going to take up too much screen time, much less even a cameo. So we may see a cameo, may see him for 5 minutes, but either way, he's going to be involved. I don't necessarily think he's going to be an enemy because he is a future member of the Justice League. So either way, I think this movie's getting way too crowded, but if they keep it to 5 minutes between Wonder Woman and Cyborg, we'll be fine.
This sounds like they're setting something up for the future here. This is DC, I guess, for lack of a better term, learning from the Marvel Disney universe and saying, you know what? We want to make this a long-term franchise and be able to kind of do offshoots of this. Let's get our big guns in there, Batman and Superman, and let's start introducing some of the other characters. You might be onto something. Is that the way you read this, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely, as far as marketing strategy goes. But from a story standpoint, I think where this comes from is that every normal human in Metropolis was died during the battle at the end of The Man of Steel, so only superpower people are left, right? I mean, they destroyed the entire city, so besides the Daily Planet people.
Sure. David, what's your take on this?
Oh, I'm happy with it. Just give me my Justice League. Just do it.
Well, and apparently that's what they're gearing up for. Are we hearing any more? And this is open to the floor. Are we hearing any more about a potential Justice League film? I mean, it's like this thing that's over in the wings over there that nobody seems to really want to talk about.
Well,
I think they don't want to talk about it because they don't have anything to talk about.
All right, hang on. Let's start with David first.
Yes.
Oh, I just said I don't think they want to talk about it because they don't have anything to talk about just yet.
Okay, Ryan, where were you going?
I was going to say this basically, to me, this film they're doing right now, it feels like a Justice League film, and it should be a Superman-Batman movie, not a Justice League movie. Save it for a little bit later, but at the same time, You want to incorporate other characters? Just make them cameos. Make sure they're not in there for more than 5 minutes, because if they're in there for more than 5 minutes, this is going to look a lot like a Justice League. Save it for 2017, 2018. Take this slow, man.
And that's what you said that this character is going to be, pretty much a cameo from what you're reading, right, Ryan? The Cyborg?
As far as I know, yeah. I hope he's not in there for more than 5 minutes, because otherwise we're going to have problems.
Okay.
I'm kind of with both those guys. I think they're planting seeds, but they don't really have anything concrete to talk about yet.
Okay.
I'm not worried about anything being overcrowded, because when you start looking at the DC universe, so many of these characters are intertwined. When you're looking at these powerhouses, of course Wonder Woman needs to be kind of floating around in there with Superman and Batman. I mean, these are the big leaguers.
Okay. Let's see here. Moving away from those superheroes, last year, Ashton Kutcher portrayed Apple co-founder Steve Jobs in the movie Jobs, and I'm not a big fan of Ashton Kutcher, but I thought this was actually a pretty decent film, despite the fact that this really wasn't the true biopic. This was kind of a couple of people working on a script and kind of what some people said was loosely based in a dramatic interpretation of his life. Now we're getting a new film, which, from what I understand, David, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is actually what is being the approved biopic picture, and this one's starring Leo DiCaprio?
He's circling the role. It looks like now that David Fincher and Christian Bale are gone, it looks like it's going to be Danny Boyle and Leonardo DiCaprio, with Aaron Sorkin writing.
Aaron Sorkin writing it.
Yeah.
He's Sorkin can be a really, really good writer. I enjoyed what he did on Sports Night, and he did some really good stuff on The West Wing, even though I'm not big into his politics. But it depends on whether he's on his game or not. Because if he's off, man, this thing can be really, really bad. But am I correct in assuming that this one's supposed to be the official biopic?
That's what I've heard.
I have a question.
We might have an answer.
Was Steve Jobs' life that interesting? I mean, I understand his accomplishments, but I mean, what's the hook really? Hey, I'm the dude who did all this tech stuff. I mean, it's not like, he was Johnny Cash who had some sort of musician or other type of artist who had some sort of crazy up and down kind of life. I mean,
but here's the thing. I mean, we've seen this before where we get these dueling bio pictures. In fact, if you remember on the TV side of things, the Long Island Lolita, ABC, CBS, and NBC, also all three had TV movies that they all put out within like a month of each other.
Right.
And, I don't think anybody was that impressed with her. And then the other one that sticks out to me, and I only remember the fact that Tom Cruise was listed as a producer with Billy Crudup portraying Steve Prefontaine, who got the attention of Phil Knight launching the Nike set, and he was a big-time runner who had some sort of disease. Right about the same time that film came out, there was another film that came out at the same time, and I was thinking the exact same thing as you are. I understand maybe making one film about him, but do we need two? And I kind of see where you're going with that in this.
I'm just saying, I mean, even for one movie, I mean,
I don't have a problem with them making one film about him, because, the guy comes up with Steve Wozniak, obviously, but they come up with a computer that suddenly became accessible for everyone to take one home.
That makes for some exciting cinema.
And he begins this, great dynasty of Apple that, crumbles, and then all of a sudden he's able to come in and bring it back. Maybe you tell a story once, but I don't know if you need to tell it twice.
Right. See, the thing about, what was it? What was the Facebook movie's name?
Social Network.
Social Network. That one you had, the dude was a complete jerk, and it was an entertaining character to watch.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I don't know. I mean, what was Jobs this charismatic? I mean, seriously.
Not the way Ashton Kutcher portrayed him.
Okay.
Did Aaron Sorkin write Social Network?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did, actually.
Well, there you go. All right. Maybe we're onto something.
Maybe this version will make us say, oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow.
I'm not counting on that. Speaking of bio pictures, Ryan, to you, an upcoming film about Marilyn Monroe. Have they cast who's going to play this actress? The legend?
I believe they have. The name of the film is going to be called Blonde. They got Jessica Chastain to take on the role of Marilyn Monroe. It's going to be directed by Andrew Dominic, who previously gave us the film The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And Brad Pitt is going to come on board as a producer for the film, but no other casting, much less release dates, have been set yet.
Jessica Chastain as Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
I could kind of see that.
And I love the assassination of Jesse James, so this one's got my attention.
All right. Do we have any kind of an idea when they're trying to get this thing out?
No release date as of yet.
All right. David, it seems weird that I end up giving this to you, but you brought it to my attention. And from time to time, we talk about a DVD release of some cartoon dealing with a very popular doll, Barbie. Apparently, they've been somewhat successful because they want to actually put a movie out in the theater about Barbie.
Yeah, it's going to be live action. Sony is the fools who are trying to reboot Ghostbusters. It's apparently going to be a comedy that'll be written by Jeannie Bix, who wrote What a Girl Wants, and produced by the husband and wife team of Walter F. Parks and Laurie McDonald, who did Men in Black 3. There's no part of this that should... None of these people should be together to do anything with Barbie.
I'm intrigued by only one side of this whole thing, because we've all probably have heard about how Barbie is unrealistic, and if she was a real full-size woman, her measurements would just be unattainable. Who the heck are they going to get to portray Barbie?
Oh, I know.
Who?
That girl who has had all those surgeries to make herself look like a doll.
Oh, my gosh.
Why not?
Can she act?
Eli Roth's Barbie.
No, she just fell out of favor for saying that she prefers the Nordic look. And
oh, that's right. She had made all those stupid comments.
She said that women aren't pretty anymore because of race mixing or something.
She did.
Good night, almighty.
Really? As far as Barbie's concerned, one, this is one of the worst ideas in the history of mankind, and number two, you are going to cast someone to play Barbie. Just get the girl who played her in 2 movies. Reese Witherspoon.
Who played Barbie in 2? Oh, you're thinking Legally Blonde.
Hello, she was virtually Barbie the whole movie.
That's true.
That's actually, yeah, you're pretty right. A couple of more things here. The writing team of Robert Orci and Alex Kurtzman, they've created some big hits both on TV and in the movies, but we're hearing word that the duo is split up as a writing team. Is this right, David?
Yeah, as far as their films are concerned, they're going to still work together in their TV endeavors, but they have split on their films.
Okay, think about some of the films that they're involved with, and what does this mean for their future?
Do what now?
Think of some of the films that they are involved with. What does this mean for those movies' future?
Well, they did the last 2 Star Trek movies. They did, the last 2. They've done the last 2 Spider-Man movies. Apparently, they're just splitting it all up. Like, it is an amicable split. Orci's working on Star Trek 3 with Patrick McKay and John D. Payne, and it looks like he's lobbying to direct it.
Wow.
In time for 2016, which would be the 50th anniversary. But Kurtzman is working on Venom and the other Spider-Man spinoffs.
But they're going to stick together on their TV projects.
Looks like it, but they're pretty much just producing stuff now anyway.
Yeah, that's true, too. All right. One more thing here before we go to break, and Josh Whedon, David, a rather prolific producer, director, writer, etc., he recently revealed that there is a film entitled In Your Eyes. It debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival, which is often a precursor to a nationwide release, which in this case is true, but not in movie theaters?
Right. He has already released it, actually, online as a $5 digital download. It's you can go to Vimeo and download it, or the InYourEyesMovie.com and download it for $5.
Any interest?
Oh, I'll definitely get it.
Yeah, Jeff?
No,
I watched the first 3 minutes, and it was pretty cool.
Now,
okay.
He wrote this, right? Did he write it or just produce it?
I
think
he
did
wrote it and
everything.
produced it, but he did not direct it.
Oh.
Okay. Any interest in this from you, Jeff?
Not especially right now today.
No, but maybe at some point in time?
Because I just heard about the fact that, Joss Whedon movie, video on demand, and that's about all I know of it. I have no idea what the plot is or if it would...
Okay, do we know the plot, David?
Yeah, it's about 2 kids who live on opposite sides of the world who are telepathically connected, and they can see through, or one of them can see through the other one's eyes.
Okay.
It's basically a sort of a spanning love story of these 2 people who are incredibly intimate with each other from far away.
That's moving.
Are you moved?
I am so moved.
All right. That's where we move on. When we come back, we're going to be talking about what's coming out next Tuesday on Blu-ray and DVD. Also, and we've got a little bit of TV stuff to deal with, and then we're going to get into our roundtable topic, because Ryan has come across an article that talks, kind of predicts some of the big money makers of this summer when it comes to what you're going to go see in the movie theater, and it does have a direct correlation to our draft. and how much that may change the rankings. We'll be talking about that and more when we come back.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, the Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
On Broadway, in progress, the Surplus Store, corner of People's Drive and 124th Street.
Welcome back into the Entertainment Roundtable, coming back to a television show that hasn't been on for going now on almost 30 years, 25 at least. But the big-time NBC hit Hill Street Blues. And there's a reason why. We'll get to it here as we talk about coming out on Blu-ray or DVD on Tuesday. Couple of films. You've got Labor Day. You've got The Legend of Hercules, not to be confused with Hercules starring The Rock, coming out later this summer. The movie Gimme Shelter, Escape from Tomorrow, Devil's Due, Locker 13 are all coming out on Tuesday. And there's some TV stuff out there, including, if you're a Hill Street Blues fan, you can now get in one set the entire series of Hill Street Blues. On Amazon.com, it'll cost you about $199.
Wow, that sounds like a dream.
Is it?
I don't know. I never watched an episode.
For some people, it might be. Godzilla, the complete animated series, is also out.
What?
Yep.
From the depths, 30 stories high. Oh, yeah.
We should have let Jeff come back with the music. Finally, for those who want to relive the era of big hair and shoulder pads and dresses, you got volumes 1 and 2 of Season 8 of Dynasty. They couldn't just put it all in one volume. You had to have Volume 1, Volume 2 for Season 8.
Too much hair.
Whew. It's crazy.
And drama.
Oh, no kidding. The only thing that I remember about Dynasty, number 1, is the big hair. And number 2, there was a fight between the two main women, Joan Collins and the other woman. Its name just totally went. Who was the girl that was on Bonanza? Was it, or The Big Valley? The Big Valley. God,
that helped.
God, just her name just totally left. And that's fine, because that's where we're going, leaving Dynasty. Ryan, not that long ago, I had someone get in touch with me. They asked me about the AMC original show Longmire, whether it had been canceled. I said at the time I hadn't heard that it had been. I was quite certain that it was going to be back. We now know Season 3 is coming. When?
Yes, sir. Longmire returns for Season 3 on June the 2nd at 10/9 Central, only on A&E.
We got to wait another month and a half, huh?
Yeah, but we got plenty of movies to keep us occupied.
That's true. And 24 starts here pretty soon. We've got Under the Dome, so we've actually got a pretty good number of original stuff as we head into the summertime then.
May 5th for 24, man, it's coming.
I know, I can't wait. Let's see, early days of the Sci-Fi Network, before they changed the spelling. They had a show that lampooned movies. It was called MST3K. It was short for Mystery Science Theater 3000. Been a little while since they've been heard from, but apparently they may be making a comeback. Am I reading this right?
The creator, he's saying that got ideas for it. It might come back.
That would be Joel?
Hodgson?
Joel Hodgson.
Nice.
Hodgson, or whatever his name is.
Is he talking about bringing back to the Sci-Fi Network, or are we talking releasing to movie theaters? Because they did that one time.
There's literally no detail. This is a thing that he's thinking about doing, and he would bring in a new cast, but
so he wouldn't be the one.
Times, so.
He wouldn't be the one that was sitting in the movie theater making the comments. He'd bring somebody else in to do that?
Well, I mean, he quit doing that a long time ago.
Oh, that's true, too. But he'd still be the creative force behind it.
Apparently, but, nothing's set in stone. He's just talking about doing it again, maybe.
I hope he does, because I really enjoyed it. I mean, some of those comments finally made some of those really, really bad movies entertaining.
I know.
Oh, yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah. Also off of broadcast TV, you got Netflix. They've been getting into original shows as well. And, David, they have signed in someone to bring a new series to their service. Got a pedigree, for example, creator of Arrested Development. Going to be doing something for Netflix?
Yeah, Mitch Hurwitz signed a deal with Netflix. He'll be allowed to create new series for Netflix and also work with other TV show creators on their projects.
So multiple series, not just one.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, I know you have said before you were a big fan of Arrested Development.
Yes, the first 3 seasons, fantastic. Well, I've only watched like the first 2 episodes of the final Netflix only season. But
Okay,
yeah.
so you are a subscriber to Netflix?
I'm not.
Does this make you want to subscribe to Netflix?
Not any more than the announced Marvel shows.
So let me ask this question again. Do you want to subscribe to Netflix?
One day.
You'll get around to it?
Sure, why not?
I'm not. Jeff's not. Ryan, David, either one of you a subscriber to Netflix?
No.
I do not subscribe to Netflix. However, I do have access to it.
You're stealing somebody's password, aren't you?
No, they gave me their password.
Right.
Actually, like 3 different people gave me their password, so
That's nice of
I'm
them.
good.
Okay.
Oh, you got an extra 1 or 2 laying around. I could use.
Yeah, I was about to say, now that you mention it. One more thing here, and really kind of short on TV news here, but David, one more time back to you here, and we've seen the end of the long-running sitcom How I Met Your Mother just a couple of weeks ago. Featured former Full House cast member Bob Saget as the narrator all the way up until almost the end. Now, the spinoff being planned. We've talked about it, How I Met Your Dad, and one would assume we're going to need a narrator, correct? Have they figured out who they're going to get?
Yeah, so looking like Meg Ryan is going to be the unseen future version of Sally, who will narrate the flashbacks. I was really hoping they wouldn't do this and they wouldn't go back and kind of, man, this is just some paint by numbers doo-doo, man.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, you mentioned bringing in Meg Ryan, and there's a part of me that wants to say, has Meg Ryan fallen so far that she's willing to just do nothing but narrate a TV show that she's never going to be seen on?
It's for the best for everyone involved.
It is.
I mean,
I have to admit, I haven't seen a recent picture of Meg Ryan.
Yes, Steve. The answer is yes. She has fallen.
Because, I mean, I used to love Meg Ryan. She was so cute, and then she let somebody do something to her face. It wasn't natural.
Okay.
Wow.
This is a woman who's been in pretty much nothing but romantic comedies for her entire career. I mean, is it really that much of a fall?
That's true. It's more of a, she sat down gently.
She inched into it like an old man into a hot bath.
Wow. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for something completely different. Let's go on here. And Ryan, you came across recently a prediction from Box Office Mojo. We'll get to that here in just a second. We haven't done a roundtable topic. Ryan, considering the movie draft we did a few weeks ago, let's go ahead and give the latest standings from Jacob. And Ryan, you're finally on the board here with your pick of Transcendence. So I've got the lead, $228 million combined between Captain America and Draft Day officially as of numbers from Thursday night. Josh is in second place with his film Rio 2, $81.1 million as of last night. And Ryan, you're on the board. Transcendence has made just shy of $14 million, $13.679 million. Specifically, you're in third place with Jeff, Jacob, and David still waiting for their first film in the draft to come out, which will happen for David next week when Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes out. You have found a website, it's Box Office Mojo, we're all familiar with it, that's claims to know at least what the big money makers of the summer are going to be. They haven't included Captain America on this. For whatever reason, they have limited their releases to films that come out after May 2nd, and I would assume wraps up on Labor Day?
I believe so.
Okay. Let's kind of figure out what they say, and as we go through, we'll kind of figure out who's got what when it comes to these and kind of get an idea of maybe where we're all going to land. What are they saying are going to be the big films of the year, of the summer, I should say?
Sure. Would you like me to run down the top 10 that they have?
Yeah, let's go with the top 10 here, and we'll work our way through it.
Okay. As far as titles go, coming in at number 1, you have the animated film How to Train Your Dragon 2 at number 1.
Oh, there is Jeff right there. And correct me if I'm wrong, was that your first round draft pick?
It sure was, boy.
Okay.
I jumped on that.
All right. How much are they thinking How to Train Your Dragon 2 is going to make?
Domestically, they're saying $325 million.
That'll set you up nicely, wouldn't it?
It sure will there, Steve.
All right, number 2, where are we going?
X-Men Days of Future Past with a possible total of $290 million.
That would be Josh who's got that one. Number 3?
Would be Transformers Age of Extinction, coming in with a possibly good total of $285 million.
Oh,
Feeling
Jeff.
good,
Looking
baby.
good right there. Number, where are we, 4?
Yes. The Dawn of the Planet of the Apes with a possible number of $240 million.
That's one of mine. Okay, I could deal with that. Number 5.
Number 5 would go to me. The Monster Returns with Godzilla. They're predicting $230 million for this bad boy.
You'd be a happy guy if that happened. Number 6
would be The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with $225 million.
All right, David, you happy with that, or is that lower than what you were hoping for? All right, number 7.
That would be Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. $180 million for the first timer.
Marty? Oh, how much?
$180 million for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Now, that would make Jacob happy, but I have been hearing so many people saying that because this is not so directly tied in that to the Avengers universe, in other words, it's kind of fringe for most of the vast majority of people, that this could do one of two things. It could explode because people are now want to find out a little bit more about it. But 180 to 185 million would lead me to believe they're thinking that this is only going to attract those who are interested in the Marvel comics in the first place.
They just lost credibility with me, buddy.
Oh, you think it's going to do better, David?
Yes.
Okay. What are you thinking it's going to do?
A lot more.
Wow. Thanks for really setting yourself up for that one there, David.
And mark my words.
So you're really plugging Jacob's film, aren't you? Mark your word. Okay, marking your words. What are they?
It will do more.
I have said them.
I have spoken. All right, that brings us to what? Number 8? Is that we're up to, Ryan?
David gives us all humorous stuff that makes us laugh and puts smiles on people's faces. Because you've been Debbie Downer for like a month and a half. Man.
Yeah, really, man. Come on.
Come on, Debbie.
What?
Wah, wah, wah. What are we up to? Number 8, Ryan?
Yes, that would be Disney's film Maleficent with Angelina Jolie, $150 million.
Jacob in there again. All right, to number 9.
The raunchy comedy known as Neighbors with Seth Rogen, among others, $140 million.
Josh with that one. And number 10.
Would be the 22 Jump Street, $135 million.
Wow, they think they're going to make that much? That's another one of yours, Jeff.
I know, I got 3 in the top 10, y'all.
Okay, so I'm just looking here at some of the films that are out there. Expendables 3, they don't mention. They don't mention the Tom Cruise film Edge of Tomorrow. What else is in there? Jupiter Ascending, they don't talk about. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they don't put in there. Hercules, SimCity, Dame to Kill For, excuse me. Where are some of these? Have they mentioned these?
A few of them, yes. Granted, some of them are on page 2, but as far as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, comes right below 22 Jump Street at number 11 with $130 million.
130 million, huh?
For Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yes.
Jeff, you're over there shaking your head.
I don't see it.
You don't think it's going to make that much?
I don't know. I think he's going to have a big opening weekend, maybe 60, 70 million, and then everybody will be like, that was terrible.
And the word will get out and it'll flop.
I could be wrong.
Yeah?
I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just biased because once I saw that design, I wanted to scream.
Gotcha.
I don't know if I agree with Jeff on that or if I just really want to agree with him.
All right.
Thanks.
What else are we looking at? Some of the other highlights you got there, Ryan.
Oh, goodness gracious. We're having too much fun. Coming in at number 12, you have the raunchy comedy or Seth MacFarlane film, A Million Ways to Die in the Old West, $125 million.
That's a film that David chose. Okay, where are we going next?
Well, in Lucky 13, you have based off the best-selling novel of the same name, The Fault in Our Stars, $120 million.
Nobody chose that. Oh, no, I take that back. There you are. Yep. Jeff, you got it. Okay. So you've got 4 up there in the top. What was that, number 12?
Yeah, that was the third. Well, no, The Fault in Our Stars was 13.
13. So you got 4 in the top 13.
I like it.
All right. Next up.
Deliver Us from Evil with Eric Bana, $115 million.
Now that's a film that nobody chose.
You're right.
What's Eric Bana?
He's an actor, dude.
He was that guy that initially tried to play the Hulk, which failed kind of miserably.
He's Hulk fake.
Yeah, that's it.
Next up, down too.
That's true too. He was, wasn't he? All right, next up.
That would be number 15. It goes to the animated film Planes, Fire, and Rescue with $110 million.
David, another one of yours. So you got 3 in the top 15. So there you go. All right. So that still leaves us with things like The Expendables Part 3, Jupiter Ascending. Still haven't talked about, what else is in there? Edge of Tomorrow. Where are these films? Where are they thinking these things are going to land?
Well, Hercules with Dwayne The Rock Johnson is coming in at number 16, right below the Planes animated film with $105 million, and Edge of Tomorrow is all the way down at number 20 with only $90 million.
Okay, I got to ask this question here. Is that considered then a flop?
Probably.
Yeah? All right, and I'll ask this just because, well, 3 of my films are already out, and now the only other one that I'm left with is The Purge: Anarchy. How bad does this thing look?
Oh, you never know.
What are they saying it's looking like? I mean, this thing isn't even in the top 20, is it?
Well, no, it's not in the top 20. Everything else is considered another contender.
Ouch. All right, Ryan, where can we find you online if we want to talk a little bit more with you about some of these movies or TV news?
You can find me at the RPM Show on Facebook as well as at Ryan Matthews.
Thank you so much, Ryan. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you 1 week from today, my friend.
Yes, sir. Let's make next weekend amazing, shall we?
Sounds good. David, where can we find you online, sir?
You can find my comedy sketches and web series on maladjusted.tv.
Thank you, sir. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you 1 week from today.
All right.
Jeff, enjoy the weekend, sir. Busy one as it is.
Linda Evans.
Thank